Hey everybody, it's Tyler with Gaia Gaming, and for record purposes, I wanted to put up this deck profile. Now, the deck that I played with last week, or rather, in the last video, a week before I played with this deck, isn't very different at all. It's still Numemon, but this was in a regional as opposed to a PPG side event. And instead of this being for more product, I ended up coming top 8, getting my Omnimon. Finally, getting my Omnimon. After 2 X1 bubbles out of top 8, this time I went X1-1 and bubbled in to 5th place. Part of that was due to a new policy that Bandai's doing, where rounds are set by player count. So instead of just playing till 1 undefeated, we were playing out full rounds moving forward as of the newest policy change. So based on player count, this was 9 rounds. So instead of ending a round early like we would have, like we usually do due to draws or like pair downs, etc., we played the full 9 rounds, which let breakers become more true, which means there are half the amount of X1s that would normally finish, maybe even a little less than half. Whatever the math is, it lets people bubble back in after a single loss, which I think is really healthy. It also lets a couple X2s top 8, which I think is really healthy. I don't mind playing full rounds at all as long as you know about it going in. There was a bit of a miscommunication where we didn't know about this until the day of the event, but overall I don't think it changes the event. You're going to place what you're going to place, and you have to play, how you're going to play. That being said, I did want to go over the deck I used. For a more in-depth breakdown, please go check out Huang Zero's video. Me, Alex, and Dan Veng, we all spent weeks just playtesting, building, testing independently, coming back, reporting our results, and this is the 50 cards that we settled on. There was one last-minute change that Alex suggested, like 5 minutes before deck lists could be edited anymore, and I just blind trusted him. He did go 9-0, so again, big shout outs to Alex. Check him out on the Wong Zero YouTube, but if you're subscribed to me, you're probably subscribed to him. But if you want just a more in-depth breakdown of the deck and his matchups, you could find them there. I'm gonna have to try and recount my matchups. I can't find the paper where I wrote them, but I'll do my best to remember on the fly. So first, let's go over the deck. I played the same 50 as Alex, the same 50 as Dan. I think Dan changed 2 things just because he couldn't find a couple cards before he submitted the deck. But we are playing black-based Numemon. In the meta currently, I think black-based Numemon is a lot better than purple-based. Purple-based relies way too much on attacking to get your value. And with so many more impactful aces out and coming out, I think you just lose something with the purple base, whereas black base kind of lets you choose when you need to attack and still get the momentum that you want. That being said, there were people who played purple base and did really well. There was even a player who played black base with red Koromon eggs, so even more aggressive and did pretty well. Very variable deck. You can build it tons of different ways. It's so versatile. Trust me when I say I think the Numemon archetype is the most versatile archetype, and the core itself leaves so much room for you to build around it. So for the eggs, we have 4 Sunamon and 1 Tokomon. The Sunamon is the one you want. Tokomon is just like the best in-slot black egg that isn't Sunamon for the deck. It's okay. There was a bit of discussion about whether or not to run QQmon, where if your opponent unsuspends, you draw a card, but that would, if you do get paired into a Mirage, which is already a bad matchup, that is such a good card for them to abuse, so we kept it Tokomon. Then we have Chumon, 3 Chumons. Again, we went heavy on the Chumon. Mirage is a bad matchup, but Chumon also comes up against other decks. Yellow Vaccine uses a lot of memory boosts. Chumon comes up. Right now it's a good floodgate. Chikuri, for when you go really wide, you can't get punished by Death X. It also does come up in the rapid matchup where they can't play their Tamers at a reduced cost from the Terriermon effect, so that is pretty cool. We went 8 Ukomon because Ukomon is the most abusable rookie in the game. A lot of people are calling for a limit of sorts. I don't know if that's quite necessary, but I do think Ukomon can just snowball the game in your favor, and that is it complements the Numemon deck very well. For Jerrymon, it is a Destiny draw. For anyone familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, you pitch an in-archetype card to the trash, which is where you want it to be in this archetype, and draw 2. Numemon from Digipolice, the Digipolice Numemon. On play when Digivolving, you play a Satsuki for free underneath it to give any of your Digimon rush. It doesn't have to be it, but the Satsuki does have to go underneath it. That part's really cool. Just playing the Satsuki for free. Rush can come up. The Satsuki for free is really nice, but more importantly, it's just a generic blocker inheritable, which makes for really good plays. For Numemon X is insane. It's just a value engine. One of the RB Numemon, just for a little bit of additional search. This could be a 4th Digipolice Numemon, but I do like having the RB Numemon for just like a secondary opener to Jerrymon. If you don't have your archetype cards, you could just swing it into security, draw a couple cards. It's overall not bad, and it does give blocker to your Numemon archetype. We did run 2 Edamon. The Edamon was a really cool tech that I saw Law X do in the GFG event, the first BT16 GFG event. That's really opened my eyes to it. I know in Japan they played with it too. I just was ignorant to that until Lox showed me, and I just really love the synergies it creates in this deck, the surprise factor. That being said, now that the surprise is out, I don't know if I'd still run it, because even towards the end of the day, I kind of let the cat out of the bag with the last video, which I did methodically. I was thinking I wanted to keep it kind of a secret, but as people started talking about it anyway, I saw people talk about it, after I won the PPG event, and I figured if people are going to find out anyway and there's going to be stirrings in the community about it, I might as well make the video to get it to more people, with the idea being that the more people who know, the more people will be afraid of the play, and it would affect their play overall. It's a little bit of a big meta call, but I just wasn't scared of people knowing the tech. I don't think the strength comes necessarily in the surprise. I think a lot of the strength just comes from the combo itself. The Edamon does just on Digivolution or on play minus 3,000 from something, and the start of main they are forced to attack. So if they aren't cleared by the minus 3k, at the start of main they have to declare an attack. That's good for a lot of reasons. You could have blocker with the generic blocker inheritable. They could just be so small that security might take them out. Or you can, what is the really fun combo, just ace in response to that, which might force them, if they've overcommitted to the board, into a board wipe, especially into Valkyriemon ace, which when a security is popped, you pop an 8k or less. Usually this would answer a lot of board states. There were so many times where the Edamon Valk combo came up to answer just a losing board state and restabilize, because Numemon restabilizes really well, but also just Valkyriemon ace in general is a backbreaking card. So we do have for Numemon X, also an insane answer to a stack. This was the Magna X Destroyer, because you can evolve to Monze minus 3k, or evolve to any minus 3k, then evolve to the Numemon X, play something by effect minus another 10k, usually is the threshold, and then since all of those minuses persist into your opponent's turn, as soon as it becomes affected by effects again, it just DP minuses to 0 and dies. So that's Numemon X is crazy. The RB1 Numemon we all know is crazy. Again, with an archetype. I talk about this more in the other videos. I've made a few videos on Numemon. Again, for in-depth about the Numemon archetype, please go check out Alex's video as well as my past videos. 3-plant Nume, you do need to see it to make the value happen. I've seen people in Japan run 2. I don't disagree with that, because space is crazy tight in this deck, surprisingly enough, but I like 3 because I like to see it. 3 Valkyrie Ace, we went heavy on it because we were going all in on the Edamon combo. We kept bouncing back and forth between 2 Venus, 2 Valk, just making space with other things, but we decided to go all in on 2 Edamon, 3 Valk. That's where we settled. We even had a list with 4 Valk for a minute, but yeah. 1 Venusmon, wanted 2, but 1 was enough. There were definitely situations where I wish the Venusmon was a Valk. There was never a situation where I wish a Valk was Venusmon. 1 Death X, 1 Shine Gray Rune mode. I think you're forced into running at least 1 Rune mode because the lockout that it can create is just game winning. You can run 2. I think you should have 2 level 7s. The other one is to taste, to choice. I went with Death X because it's really good in the mirror. It's really good against armors. It's good with all the aces floating around. You can slam it if you don't evolve. It's overall, Death X actually really came up in a few games and did a lot of good. So I'm glad I did decide to run it. 1 protoform. Wish it could be 2, because with Edamons instead of the Warumanzes, the Monzemon X was just evolving for no win digivolving effect a lot. And the second protoform could really help that. But I don't hate it. I didn't hate having to evolve to the Monzemon X, because if you do it for no effect, it's essentially a bluff that you have a Valk Ace, because why would you waste the Monzemon X just to pass them turn? So I liked doing that a lot throughout the day as well. The Satsuki's part of the Digipolice package. You have Louis, because 8 Ukomon with Louis goes insane. Ideally, you keep a Louis in hand to go for game later, but if you turn 2 Louis out your second Ukomon, you just get so much value. It's crazy. And the last minute change was the starter deck mat. Being at 3 memory is huge in this deck, and what's even cooler is the interactions where with Jerrymon you can end up gaining an extra memory with the mat, just playing Jerrymon for 2, or vice versa when you do play out the Platinum Numemon or evolve up into him, essentially gaining 3 memory from that. We're all very cool. Against Yellow Vaccine, I think Matt did the most work in helping me restabilize boards that I probably shouldn't have been able to come back from. So that's the deck. I think it's a great 50, with the caveat that I have already changed this deck for moving forward in the format, just because I think now that the Valk Ace, people are so cautious of it, they almost don't mind playing in a way that's very cautious, forcing the ace, and then answering it to make a punishable board state for you. Towards the end of the day, I definitely saw people play into the ace on purpose to then answer it, get their reward for answering it, and then pop off. So I had to then remanage how I approach that matchup and adjust my playstyle accordingly. So let's talk about matchups. Round 1, I played Joe Dobby, Friendly Fire right away. You know, I test with Josh all the time. I talk shop with him about meta and decks and all that stuff. He was playing Lugarmon. The new Lugarmon support can just pop off insanely, which in Game 2 he did. I somehow still stabilized and won. I did get that set. I think it's not a great matchup. It's kind of Crimson Blazer bust, to be honest, just because the Numemon deck does really well answering a single stack, and with the Valkyrmon Ace, it can answer go wide boards pretty well as well now. Round 2, I did play Dan, my teammate friend, playing the almost same 50. We did end up going to time and drawing because we found out quickly that the Ace standoff, the Valkyrmon Ace standoff, can be a very grindy matchup, so we did end up drawing there, going into overtime and getting a draw very early. And as you'll know, now that I'm in the draw bracket, it did turn out that Ace standoff was pretty grindy, because I did see a lot of mirrors in the draw bracket. The following round I played Imperial Dramon, I believe, was next. I did win that matchup. I think Numemon has a lot of tools to beat Imperial Dramon pretty handedly. After that, I played a mirror. Yes, I played my first mirror. So that's round 4. I played of my first mirror. I believe I won that one. Then I played another mirror and lost that one. Then I played against Shine Greymon and won. That's 6 rounds. I played a mirror and won. I played Yellow Vaccine and won. And then finally I played Magnamon X and won. I think all of my wins, with the exception of one with the Yellow Vaccine, were 2-0, if I remember correctly. But yeah, the deck goes crazy. I don't know where I was going with that last sentence. But anyway, ended up 7-1-1 in 9 rounds. I played Magna X, which I think is my best matchup. I think you could answer that stack so easily. I think Pyildramon, the partition, loses to the Valk Ace combo very handedly. You just don't let them get to Dragon Mode. The Yellow Vaccine matchup is tough, but it's manageable. I really leaned on Death X in one game. I lost game one and then won the next two. The last game being in time, in turns, and barely got it there. Essentially having to swing out with everything as quickly as possible to end it. Deck's crazy. Like I said, for a more balanced, in-depth breakdown, please go check out Wong's video. I don't want this to go on too much longer. This is mostly because Dan told me I had to make a profile, because we always think about when we topped, what format, what deck we were playing, and we should just always put it on the channel. But thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, more gameplay videos, deck profiles, all that fun stuff. And I'm going to be changing Numemon around in creative ways, because I'm probably going to keep playing Numemon. I really like the archetype. I really like the play style. They made a silly little goofy guy pretty meta relevant, and I love it. So thank you guys for watching. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.